51 people entered the waiting room. कर दो यार एडमिट एडमिट कर वहीं 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 आ रहा हूँ कर दे एडमिट लिख दिया कि वीडियो फिलहाल बंद कर दे पोस्ट पोस्ट है आइए ये ग्रुप में लिंक भेज दो ग्रुप में लिंक डालिए मैं मेल कर देता हूँ और व्हाट्सएप और जैसे कि वाले में जूम से कौन इन करेगा आप या ये अभी तो वही कर होस्ट तो वही है नहीं होस्ट वही है आपको होस्ट बात कर रहा है होस्ट बात आप बनोगे अब आप बाद में रेडी है आ गए सर मैं बस फोन करूंगी नीचे यहाँ भी हम लोग यूट्यूब का लिंक आ गया लिंक डालते हैं अभी डाला नहीं यूट्यूब का नहीं डाला है डाल देना और डालने जा रहा मेल करने भी जा रहा हूं फटाफट करो आ गए तो लोग जुड़ेंगे तो ये ज्वाइन कर रहे हैं लोग एक्स्ट्रा से रेडी हो तो आप यहीं से करोगे इनका एडमिट वाला काम सब रेडी हम आ गए बस मुझे इसलिए आए आप कहाँ से करोगे
A very good afternoon to all. Very good afternoon to all.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
A very good afternoon to all. On behalf of Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel University of Agriculture and Technology, Meerut, I welcome you all to the inaugural session of the one-week FDP on applications of mathematical techniques in agriculture science and technology. It is my proud privilege to extend a warm welcome to our chief guest, respected Dr. M.K. Gupta sir, Pro-Vice Chancellor, Chaudhry Charan Singh University, Meerut. Our respected registrar sir, our resource person for today, Dr. Ashok Kumar, Department of Mathematics, University of Delhi. Dr. N. Srinivasan, Department of Mathematics, IIT Guwahati. I would also like to welcome the deans, directors, faculty members, and participants who have joined us online. To mark an auspicious beginning to today's event, honoring the eternal fame of light, learning, and progress, I request the dignitaries to kindly grace the occasion by lighting the lamp.
शारदे माँ, ये शारदे माँ, अज्ञानता से हमें तार दे माँ। ये शारदे माँ, ये शारदे माँ, अज्ञानता से ये संगीत तुझसे, हर शब्द तेरा, हर गीत तुझसे। हम हैं अकेले, हम हैं अधूरे, तेरी शरण हम, हमें प्यार दे माँ। हे शारदे माँ, हे शारदे माँ, अज्ञानता से हमें तार दे माँ। दुनिया ने समझी, दुनिया ने जानी, वेदों की भाषा, पुराणों की वाणी। हम भी तो समझे, हम भी तो जाने, विद्या का हमको अधिकार दे। हे शारदे माँ, हे शारदे माँ, अज्ञानता से हमें तार दे माँ। हे शारदे माँ, हे शारदे माँ, अज्ञानता से हमें तार दे माँ।
I would like to thank the dignitaries for their presence today. We would now like to move forward by offering plural token of respect and warmth to our guests. I would first like to request Dr. D.K. Singh, sir, Dean Student Welfare, kindly present a bouquet to Dr. M.K. Gupta, sir, our chief guest for today's event, and Pro Vice Chancellor, CCS University. Also, I would now like to request Dr. Vivek Khanna, sir, Dean, College of Agriculture, to kindly present a bouquet to our respected registrar, sir. Thank you, sir, for honoring us with your presence. I would now like to request Dr. Prerna Sharma, ma'am, Head Department of Basic Science and convener of this FDP, to present a bouquet to Dr. Vivek Khanna, sir, Dean, College of Agriculture. I would now like to request Dr. Bhim Singh, sir, Professor, Department of Basic Science, to present plural token to DSW, sir. Proceeding further into the event, I would now like to welcome our Proceeding further in the event, I would now like to ask our Dean, sir, to please come forward for the welcome address.
Good afternoon to all. It's my privilege and a pleasure to welcome to all the dignitaries, guests, and other assembled over here on the occasion of Faculty Development Program on application of mathematics techniques in agriculture, science and technology, which is going to be held on 18th August to 23rd August 2025 online mode. At outset, I would like to express my profound gratitude to our worthy Honorable Vice Chancellor, Dr. K.K. Singh ji, who is under the dynamic leadership the Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel University of Agriculture and Technology is in. And Honorable Vice Chancellor make all the efforts to establish this university at global level. I welcome to Dr. Ramji Singh ji, Registrar, for sparing the valuable time to address the gathering and inspiring us in the faculty development program. I welcome to Dr. M.P. Gupta ji, Vice Chancellor of the CCS University Meerut, for sparing the valuable time and to address the participants. The participants will be enhanced and enriched by the providing them by advanced knowledge of the different aspects of the mathematical modeling, statistical tools. The aim of this faculty development program is to enrich the participants by forwarding expert lectures, which will give the new directions on the subject of application of mathematical techniques in agriculture, science, and technology. On behalf of organizing committee, I also welcome all the deans, directors, and all heads and faculty members and participants from the different states, students and others for their presence at this event. And we are very fortunate that we have the different eminent speakers like Dr. M.P. Gupta ji, Vice Chancellor of the CCS University, and others At this occasion, they will deliver the lecture in this program, and I also extend my heartiest welcome to all, and this appreciation goes to Dr. Prerna Sharma, Professor and Head Basic Science, as well as organizing convener of this faculty development program. And I welcome all the electronic media and print media for covering this event. Lastly, I would like to welcome to all the members of the organizing committee and all my colleagues who have been working since last several days. Without their cooperation and full support, the event would not be possible. I welcome you all once again, and we look forward to an extremely productive faculty development program. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir, for setting the tone of the event and for your kind and throughout support that we had. To present the objective, structure, and scope of this FDP, I invite the convener, Dr. Prerna Sharma ma'am, Head Department of Basic Science and convener of this event, to deliver the overview of the program.
Thank you, Dr. Ridhima. Good afternoon, everyone. It is with a great pleasure that I welcome you all the development program on application of mathematical technique in agriculture, science, and technology. On behalf of organizing committee, I extend my warmest greetings to all the distinguished speakers, participants, and colleagues who have joined us from across the country. We are proud to share that more than 200 participants, including faculty member, postdoctoral fellow, PhD and postgraduate students from diverse institutions across the nation have registered for this program. This wide participation reflects the growing interest and recognition of the crucial role that mathematical technique play in solving complex problems across agriculture, scientific research, and modern technological development. We are honored to have with us Professor Mridul Kumar Gupta, Pro Vice Chancellor of CCS University Meerut, and a very senior professor of mathematics as our special guest. Sir also will share his views on the importance of mathematics in agriculture, and I hope that will be very fruitful to our participants. I would like to acknowledge the presence of our registrar, Dr. Ramji Singh, as of the chief guest of this program. It is my pleasure to acknowledge the presence of Dr. Vivek, Dean College of Agriculture, Dean Student Welfare, sir, for attending this, for accepting our invitation for attending, for their blessing. We are pleased to announce the presence of distinguished resource person from reputed universities and reputed institutions who will be sharing their expertise with us. I am just telling about them. Dr. Avinash Kumar, a very senior professor from Bundelkhand University, will share his views on digital farming. Dr. S.P. Singh, very senior professor of T.B. Pant University of Agriculture and Technology, Pantnagar. This topic is role of mathematics in agriculture. Dr. Neelendra Wadal, Director, Rajkir Engineering College, Bijnor. Topic will be role of mathematics in data analysis. Dr. M. K. Sharma, Professor, Sher-e-Kashmir, University of Agriculture, Science and Technology. He will share his views about the topics of statistics like ANOVA and ANCOVA. Dr. S.R. Singh, Professor of CCS University, will deliver a lecture on mathematical modeling for supply chain in agriculture. Dr. Ashok Kumar, who is the today's in this session 3 to 4 from University of Delhi. Dr. Shubhra Katara is Senior Professor from Rohilkhand University. Dr. Sanjay Kumar, Professor of T.B. Pant University of Agriculture and Technology. Dr. Muslim Malik, Professor from Indian Institute of Technology, Mandi. Dr. Abhishek Singh, Professor from Indian Institute of Technology, Dhanbad. Dr. N. Srinivasan, today's speaker from 4 to 5 session from Indian Institute of Technology, Guwahati, and Dr. Jitendra Man from National Institute of Technology, Hamirpur. Their collective contribution will
enrich our discussion and provide valuable insights into the integration of technology, mathematics, and data analysis in agriculture and related fields. This FDP is designed to foster interdisciplinary learning by introducing mathematical tools and their application in real-world contexts. The sessions by our esteemed resource persons will cover a broad spectrum, ensuring a comprehensive learning experience. I sincerely hope that all participants will find this program intellectually enriching. I trust that the expert staff and collaborative discussion will provide new insight, spark innovative ideas, and open avenues for further research and academic collaboration. I take this opportunity to thank our Honorable Vice Chancellor for encouraging us to organize such type of program. I'm very much thankful to Registrar of this University, Dr. Ramji Singh, then Equity in Agriculture, Dr. Vivek for motivating us for time to time for organizing this program and boosting us for arranging such type of program. And I'm also thankful to our DSW, and I'm very much thankful to organizing committee, especially our organizing secretary, Dr. Sawan Rawat, Dr. Ajit, and Dr. Ajay, जिनके बिना काम पॉसिबल नहीं था. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for your insights into the program and the reflections. We are now deeply honored to have our chief guest with us today, Dr. M.K. Gupta, sir, Pro Vice Chancellor, Chaudhry Charan Singh University, Meerut. A distinguished figure in academia, visionary administrator, widely respected for his contributions to higher education, research, and institutional advancement. His leadership has been instrumental in fostering academic excellence and strengthening the culture of motivation and innovation. It is my privilege to now welcome sir to deliver the special address.
Thank you, ma'am. Good afternoon, everyone. Honorable Vice Chancellor, Professor K.K. Singh, Honorable Registrar, Professor Ramji Singh, respected Dean, College of Education, Professor Vivek Ramaji, respected DSW, Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel University of Agriculture and Technology, Professor D.K. Singh sir, Organizing Secretary, Organizing Team, eminent speakers, faculty members, and dear participants, ladies and gentlemen. On the occasion of inaugural function of 6-day faculty development program on applications of mathematical techniques in agriculture, science, and technology, I extend my heartiest welcome to you all. Friends, you all know mathematical techniques form the backbone of innovation and problem solving in all fields, including agriculture, science, and technology. With its ability to model complex systems, analyze data, and optimize processes, mathematics is a powerful tool in enhancing productivity, innovation, and understanding in these fields, and thus has a profound influence on the world's culture, scientific, and technological development. The integration of mathematical tools enables precise modeling, efficient resource management, and the advancement of research and development in diverse domains. Strengthening mathematical literacy and interdisciplinary collaboration is key to address future challenges and achieving sustainable progress. Indeed, mathematics is important for logical thinking. Also, the increasing use of computers in everyday life is giving rise to a new organization of knowledge as a whole. Agriculture today is multidisciplinary field, increasingly influenced by data-driven strategies and computational tools. Mathematical modeling, statistical inference, optimization, time series analysis, geospatial methods, and artificial intelligence are some of the key mathematical domains that support research and management in agriculture. Linear programming model offers a mathematical framework to maximize profit, minimize cost, or optimize resource use under a set of linear constraints. For example, a typical linear programming model might be used to determine the optimal crop mix for a farmer with constraints on water availability, fertilizer input, and market demand. This approach not only improved economic efficiency, but also supported evidence-based agricultural policy. A mathematical approach to plant and crop physiology, introducing mechanistic crop models that simulate the physiological processes of plants using ordinary differential equations. These models represent processes such as photosynthesis, respiration, biomass accumulation, and transpiration as dynamic systems. Unlike empirical models that rely on observed correlations, mechanistic models allow researchers to explore how crops respond to environmental conditions and management practices at a more granular level. This work established the foundation of widely used crop models like crop environment resource systems, decision support systems for agro-technology transfer, agriculture production systems simulator, which continue to be applied in climate impact assessments, yield forecasting, and agronomic decision support. Another major leap in the application of mathematics in agriculture occurred with the development of spatial statistics and geostatistics, particularly in the realm of soil sciences and precision agriculture. Peter A. Borrow, in his work, Principles of Geographical Information Systems for Land Resources Assessment, emphasized the use of interpolation method, variograms, and kriging. I hope everyone understands what is kriging. Kriging is a way of interpolation to analyze and visualize spatial variabilities in soil and crop properties. These geostatistical techniques enabled site-specific management, helping farmers apply fertilizers and pesticides more precisely based on localized needs, thereby improving efficiency and environmental sustainability. The integration of time series analysis in agricultural economics and metallurgy marked another milestone. The work of Box and Jenkins on ARIMA, auto-regressive integrated moving average models, provide tools for modeling and forecasting crop prices, yields, and weather patterns. These models become essential for predicting seasonal trends and making informed decisions in areas such as planting schedule, crop insurance, and market logistics. More recently, the explosion of data availability and computational power has led to the incorporation of machine learning and artificial intelligence in agriculture science. Studies like deep learning in agriculture by Camillaris et al. Provide comprehensive reviews on how algorithms such as random forest, support vector machines, and artificial neural networks are being used to predict pest outbreaks, optimize irrigation, detect plant diseases from images, and estimate crop yields from remote sensing data. These techniques often outperform classical statistical models in terms of predictive accuracy, though they are sometimes sacrifice interpretability. In short, the application of mathematics in agriculture research has evolved through several paradigms, starting from classical statistics for experimental design, then optimizing resource allocation, moving to mechanistic and dynamic models for insights, and finally embracing spatial methods for precision management and modern computational techniques like machine learning and artificial intelligence. Each of these advances has not only expanded the analytical toolbox of agricultural researchers, but also empowered farmers and policymakers to adopt more sustainable, efficient, and resilient practices. The integration of mathematical models into digital agriculture is likely to become even more critical as we confront global challenges related to food security, climate change, and environmental degradation. Now, I will like to tell you about some applications of mathematics in technology also, particularly in cryptography. The word cryptography comes from Greek word. The meaning of cryptography is secret writing. Cryptography is a branch of mathematics as well as of computer science, which deals with secure communications between parties or entities. In cryptography, original message is called the plain text, while the coded message is called the ciphertext. Do you think your email communication is safe? No, it's not secure. If the messages are sent in plain text, they are not secure, because when you send the email, they reside in server where anyone can read it. Cryptography is the study of techniques for secure communication in the presence of adversaries. It involves transforming information into an unreadable format, which is called ciphertext, using algorithms and key, ensuring only authorized parties can decipher and access the original message, called plain text. Cryptography is essential for maintaining data confidentiality, integrity, and authenticity in various applications like online banking, email, and secure messaging. Historically, Julius Caesar used to send coded messages to his military generals, in which each letter in the message is replaced by a letter 2 positions down the alphabet. For example, for A, he used to write D. Modern cryptographic algorithms for data and communication security are based on number theory. Concepts such as prime numbers, modular arithmetic, and discrete logarithms are the ones underlying billions of cryptographic encryption and decryption methods. Let me briefly tell you about discrete logarithm, how it is used. You all know, calculating given g and x, it is easy to calculate g to the power x. While the calculating g to the power x is easy, finding exponent x for a given value of g to the power x is believed to be computationally difficult. There are no known algorithms that can solve the discrete log problem efficiently for large integers, especially in the finite field. In number theory based encryption methods, the data in digital transactions, online banking, and e-commerce is kept highly secure. We create a safe space for personal information by using these methods to prevent unauthorized access. Additionally, secure encryption and encrypted communication between two parties require that they first exchange keys by some secure physical means, such as keys transported by some trusted courier. You can understand it has some problem because finding a trusted courier is a difficult thing. Diffie-Hellman key exchange method allows two parties that have no prior knowledge of each other to jointly establish a shared key over an insecure channel. This key can then be used to encrypt subsequent communications. Soon after this discovery, Rives, Samir, and Edelman described a method where even the sharing of keys is not required. And they proposed an algorithm called RSA algorithm, which is still useful in the cryptography domain. RSA algorithm is a public key cryptography algorithm which works on two different keys. One is public and other is private key. The public key is used for encryption and is known to everyone, while the private key is used for decryption and must be kept secret by the receiver. Example of this type of communication is, suppose a person A wants to send a message securely to person B. Person A encrypts the message using person B public key. Person B decrypts the message using its private key. RSA algorithm is based on factorization of large numbers and modular arithmetics for encrypting and decrypting data. It consists of three main stages: key generation, encryption, and then decryption. With these words, I sincerely hope that after the successful completion of the FDP, all the participants will have deep insights and acquire new skills in applications of mathematical techniques in agriculture, science, and technology. Finally, I express my heartfelt, sincere thanks to the organizing team for inviting me and extend my best wishes and congratulations to them for this faculty development program. Thank you.
Intensive reflections and breaking up the presence today. Your views and insights are remarkably detailed and highly practical. Thank you again. It is now our proud privilege to welcome our respected registrar, sir, to deliver his address and share his views with us on today's event.
Thank you. Respected Dr. M.K. Gupta, Vice Chancellor of CCS University Meerut, Dean Agriculture Dr. Vivek, PSW, D.K. Singh, Head of the Department of Basic Science, Dr. Prerna, Dr. Deepak, Prem Singh, Kaman Rawat, Ajit, many others. It's my privilege and pleasure to welcome all of you. The one-week faculty development program on application of mathematical technique in agriculture. I'm truly delighted to note the enthusiastic participation of faculty members from almost every state across India, as well as the distinguished panel of speakers from premier institutions such as IITs, NIT, Central University, and Agricultural University. Your expertise and insights will undoubtedly enrich this program and inspire meaningful dialogue. I am confident that the discussion and interaction over the coming week will pave the way for innovative application of mathematical technique and advancing the frontiers of agriculture science and technology. Agriculture today is no longer dependent solely on traditional knowledge and practices. With the rapid advancement of technology, the integration of quantitative and computational methods has become essential to address the complex challenges facing modern agriculture, from optimizing crop yield and managing resources, forecasting climate impact, and improving supply chain. Mathematics is often described as the language of science, but in the contemporary world, it has also become the driving force behind innovation across nearly every field. In agriculture, it enables us forecast yield, plant irrigation, optimize resource, predict the weather pattern, and assess the potential impact of climate change. In addition to these, this science can be applied to genetics and plant breeding, biotechnology, agronomy, especially for cost-benefit ratio, soil science, are measuring the texture and structure of the soil pattern, farm machinery, in prediction model for pests and diseases, forecasting and forwarding of the weather. These are many other fields where the mathematics are very useful for developing some model and equations. Such type of program like faculty development play a vital role. They serve not just as learning platform, but as catalyst for innovation, interdisciplinary collaboration, and academic leadership. This faculty development program is more than a training program, a platform to connect theory with practice, to explore interdisciplinary application, and to update ourselves with advanced methods. Our students and research scholars, this program will help them learn new mathematical technique, and they can apply these in their ongoing research work. For faculty members, it offers the chance to take these tools back to the classroom and research labs, multiplying the benefits for students and society. I encourage every participant to engage fully, ask questions, share experience, and think about how you can apply these techniques to your own work. I congratulate the organizing team for bringing together such eminent resource persons and for designing a program that promised to inspire and equip all the gathering. I especially, by name, I can express my sincere thanks to especially Prerna Sharma, who was very much keen in bringing out this program, along with her team, especially Saman Rawal, who many times they discussed with us that, sir, we want this, and it is your, hard work that this has come to our today to the reality. And I hope that in future there will be many more fruitful programs. And with these words, I thank you all. Thanks again. Thanks to Dr. Gupta for sharing his valuable time. It's an clean aging. Thanks again.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much, sir, not just for the presence and not just for your insights and reflections that you proceeded with on reflections on techniques of mathematics, but also for your unwavering support in execution of this. Thanks. We would now like to proceed and move forward towards offering gestures and tokens of respect and warmth. I would now first like to request Dr. D.K. Singh, sir, DSW, to present a token of appreciation to Dr. M.K. Gupta, our Chief Guest, Dr. M.K. Gupta, sir, our Chief Guest for today's occasion. Now, I would like to request Dr. Deepak Shishodia, sir, Professor and in charge of IT Cell, to present memento to our registrar, sir. I would like to request Dr. Prerna Sharma, ma'am, Head of Department of Basic Science and convener of today's FDP program, to present a token of appreciation to Dean Agriculture. These inspiring words, we would now like to move forwards and ask Dr. Saman Rawal to present both of us.
Good afternoon to everyone present. It is indeed a great privilege for me to deliver the vote of thanks on the occasion of inaugural session of our 1-week faculty development program, Applications of Mathematical Technique in Agriculture, Science and Technology. First and foremost, on the behalf of organizing committee and the Faculty of Mathematics, I extend our deepest sense of gratitude to our Honorable Vice Chancellor, sir. Your inspiring words have been a source of motivation, and your constant guidance has encouraged us to strive for excellence in both teaching and research. We are indebted to you for your encouragement and for you to us to arrange this program. I would like to express our sincere thanks to Professor M.K. Gupta, sir, Honorable Pro Vice Chancellor of CCS University, Meerut, who has kindly joined us this afternoon as our distinguished guest. Sir, your scholarly presence and encouraging words have added immense value to this program. We are fortunate to have your guidance in this academic endeavor. A heartfelt thanks goes to our respected registrar, sir, whose constant academic and administrative support has always been instrumental in smooth organization of this faculty development program. Your cooperation made initiatives like this FDP possible, sir. I take this opportunity to thank Dean College of Agriculture, Dean Student Welfare, and Deans and Directors of the University for gracing this occasion with their esteemed presence. Your encouragement and goodwill mean a lot to the organizing team, and your commitment to fostering culture of research and innovation is truly commendable. A very special mention must be made for Professor Dr. Deepak Sisodia, Dr. Monu Tomar, and other members of the team of the IT cell. In today's time, when most of the academic engagements are held in hybrid and online mode, it is their technical expertise and dedicated effort behind the scene that ensure everything runs smoothly. We are extremely thankful to them for the tireless assistance. I would also like to place on record an appreciation and gratitude to the convener of this FDP, Professor Dr. Prerna Sharma ma'am. Ma'am, your dedication, tireless efforts, and constant motivation have been backbone of this program. From conceptualizing the idea to carefully planning and executing every detail, your leadership has been exemplary. At the same time, I must acknowledge the sincere efforts of my fellow organizing committee members, Dr. Ajit Singh, Dr. Ajay Kumar, and other members of my organizing committee. Their teamwork and dedication have been crucial in shaping this FDP and making it a reality. Finally, I extend my thanks to all participants who have registered for the faculty development program across different parts of the country. Your presence in large numbers is a testimony to the importance of this program, and I am confident that the coming sessions with resource persons from reputed institutes like IITs and ITs, central universities, and agriculture universities will enrich us all with a valuable knowledge and insights. In conclusion, I once again thank everyone who was directly or indirectly involved and have contributed to making this inaugural session a memorable and successful one. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, sir. With these inspiring words, we now officially commence the one-week online FDP program on applications of mathematical techniques in agriculture, science, and technology. Before we begin the academic proceedings, I would like to share a few guidelines for our online participants. Discussions will be held at the end of each session. Please keep your microphones muted throughout the presentations and unmute only when during the discussion period. You are welcome to keep your videos on during the sessions. In case of any query during the presentation, kindly drop it in the comment box for the resource person. We now move towards our first session of the day. We now move towards our first session of the day. It is my privilege to invite Dr. Ashok Kumar, Associate Professor in the Department of Mathematics, University of Delhi. Sir, are you here with us?
Yes, ma'am. Hello. Am I audible?
You are audible.
I'm audible. Okay.
So your video is not on. Can you please turn it on? Thank you, sir. I would like to take a moment to invite sir and welcome him, Dr. Ashok Kumar, sir, holds a PhD in mathematics from the prestigious IIT Roorkee, Uttarakhand, with over 15 years of teaching and research expertise. He has made significant contributions to the field of mathematics and has published more than 40 research articles in reputed journals. Today, Dr. Kumar will be speaking on the topic non-Darcy poesy, truth through the pipe, and its stability analysis. The platform is yours, sir.
Yes, okay. Thank you very much. First of all, I would like to extend my basically thanks to all the organizers of this program, the application of mathematical techniques in agriculture, science, and technology. And today, as that Professor M.K. Gupta sir already mentioned that mathematics is everywhere, that wherever we have seen, wherever we talk about the science and technology, then mathematics play a vital role. So here today is I'm going to talk about on the hydrodynamic stability, and I will try to connect its applications in the agriculture, science, and technology. So the topic of my talk is non-Darcy poisonally flow through the pipe and its stability analysis. Before going to basically, we know that stability is also everywhere. And here I will consider the pipe flow. Well, the pipe why we have considered the pipe flow, because most natural flow in the in everywhere is basically a pipe flow or basically uh, artery flow. These are the natural flow. That's why I will consider the pipe flow. And that porous media also consider here, as we know that the soil is also porous, skin is also porous. So how the porous media is also play a key role in basically this for the soil conservation and all that. So I'm just begun my the talk with the words, the stable and unstable. What is the stable flow and what is the unstable flow? We know that the stable flow for any infinitesimally small variation, which is considered as a disturbance, will not have any noticeable effect on the initial state of the system and will eventually die down in time. That means if suppose we consider a person is moving on a cycle, okay, he is just moving in his own way, his or her own way, and if we push very by just applying very small force to him, and if after certain time period he is again his own same path as previous, he just revert to this initial position, then the situation is stable. But when the same force is acting, but he is suddenly fall down, that means that he is not able to basically come on the same initial position. So that kind of situation is known as stability. That is known as unstable system. That's why the unstable flow is the same way that any variations will have some noticeable effect on the state of the system, which would then cause the disturbance to grow in amplitude in such a way that the system progressively departs from the initial state or never returns to it. It is just going away from the initial state, but it will never come back to the initial state. That is known as an unstable situation or unstable flow. Now, how we can distinguish, how we can see that, think about the stability. Just see that if there is a one trough of like this, in this trough, one ball is there. It is depicted here. You can see. Now, if we'll just give us a very infinitesimal disturbance to this ball, then ball may move left or right. But after certain period, this ball will be at the initial position. So now, in these situations, we can understand the concept of stability and the word of stability. Means when we apply some force on that ball, this is move left and right, and that's why this will stable definitely after certain period. But remember that we have given the term infinitely decimal disturbance. Means that is very small and giving for a basically instant time, very small time. We are just imposing the force there. Now, apart from this, just see that this picture here, it is unstable is illustrated that the ball is on the top of the trough is just opposite. When we have some small disturbance to this ball, what will happen? This ball is rolled down, either left roll down or right roll down, but it will never come back on the same initial state. So that's why this condition, this state is unstable. Now let us come on the neutrally stable means suppose that surface is flat and it's okay, some disturbance is given. So but it is just at the same level, at the same surface it will remain same. So this is neutrally stable. While conditionally stable means there are some terminologies I am going to use in my talk. That conditionally stable. Conditionally stable means this kind of trough is there. In that trough, the ball is skipped here. If we give an finite decimal disturbance, may this ball go left and right and again come back to the initial state. But if the disturbance is growing for a time period, very small time period, it go top of the trough here, left or right, then it will be the situation of unstable. So that's why this is a conditionally stable. Now, let us talk about what we mean by the hydrodynamic stability. Hydro means that water. Dynamics means we are just studying the motion. So hydrodynamic stability means we are just going to examine the stability of some fluid flow. So now here in the fluid dynamics, hydrodynamic stability is the field which analyzes the stability and the onset of stability of a fluid flow. When there is some fluid flow, or we are just going to examine the stability of one certain stability. That is basically, we deal this in the hydrodynamic stability. Now the study of hydrodynamic stability aims to find out if a given flow is stable or unstable, or if so, then how these instability will cause and development of turbulence. Means we will concentrate on that basic flow. If basic flow is stable and how it's going to be change from laminar to turbulent. That is basically we are dealing, that we need to find out the instability boundary, after which we can say that now till this threshold value of some physical parameter, the flow is stable, but beyond that the flow is unstable. Now the foundation of the hydrodynamic stability, both theoretical and experimental, were laid most notably by the Helmholtz, Kelvin, Rayleigh and Reynolds during the 19th century. Now let us start that. Since the stability means we are just studying the behavior of a fluid from laminar to turbulent, how it is going to be transit to the turbulence. This is our aim. So we need to understand what is a laminar flow, what is a turbulent flow. Laminar flow is a very straight and parallel flow. Just see in the first case, this is a parallel flow. When the layer is mixing, when that mixing is start, one layer is mixed with another layer, this is known as a turbulence. So that's why this is a stratified flow, it's a uniform flow, but this is not a uniform flow. This you can say that this is basically the mixture of layers. So that's why this is known as a turbulence. So we are just dealing that when the laminar will basically transit to its turbulence. Now instability are everywhere, so in every corner. Just see here at our home water tap. Just see in the first situation when you just open your tap, and the pressure is very small because we can twist the pressure by just in my hand. When you will just open slowly, that your flow is coming smooth, layered flow. You can say that laminar flow. Apart from this, as you will just increase the pressure from here, then automatically that you will flow will be in this form zigzag. The layer is start to mix. Even after this, it become turbulence. So this is the laminar flow and this is the turbulence flow. Now let us see this smoke. When we see this smoke, when just up to a certain height, this is a laminar in the initial state here up to this. And when after certain time, the layer is trying to mix, the flow layer is trying to be mixed. So that's why this laminar is converted into the turbulence. Now let us come. The laminar turbulent transition that Reynolds in 1983, he did a wonderful experiment which of the circumstances and that determined whether the motion of water shall be directed or sinus. Now this, just see the experiment. This was an experiment. He just take a pipe and here that injected basically ink or some colored liquid. Then he just inserted there. Then he found that after certain level, this due to the gravity, due to the pressure, due to the other forces, this mixing is start with the water. And now later after then after certain time, it is going to be basically is converted to the turbulence. So this is the wonderful experiment whose this is basically known as the pioneering work in the hydrodynamic stability did by the Reynolds. Now, what are the practical perspective? Newtonian fluid, Navier-Stokes equations have all the information about the fluid flow. Now, laminar flow, simple solution is a governing equation. Mathematically, if you think what is a laminar flow, nothing laminar flow. We all know that the Navier-Stokes equation is the most complex and non-linear equation. We need to find the solutions, but till now, it is not possible to find out the closed form solutions. Completely, we have not solved. But after certain assumptions, suppose we assume that the flow is laminar means there will be some assumptions of a laminar. So when we impose that assumptions of the Navier-Stokes equations, then we'll have a simpler form of the set of basically simultaneous equations, maybe in the ordinary and partial differential equation. Then we have to solve them. If these simple solutions of the governing equations we have obtained, that is known as a laminar. That solutions we will plot, that will be basically give the velocity or temperature of a laminar flow. Example, plane and point Paisley flow, plane Cote flow. So here we have considered the point Paisley flow here. Now, the flow in a point, laminar flow unstable when the Reynolds number is approached to the 2000. You will understand the Reynolds number. Reynolds number is just a very simple, it's a ratio of two forces, viscous force upon frictional force. As we know that this is the controlling parameter in the hydrodynamic stability. So instability leads to the turbulence. Laminar flow, low mixing, no drag. While the turbulent flow, there is a high mixing and high drag. Means there is also drag means a kind of nonlinear force which act in the opposite of the direction of the fluid flow. So now let us come. Why do instability occur? Actually, real flow subject to the disturbance of various types. Disturbance distort the existing force equilibrium or thermal convection and circular Cote flow. So now here, some applications of stability in agriculture we can see or we can apply even in the agriculture technology or rural technologies. Like hydrodynamic stability determines how irrigation water infiltrates soils. How can we find it? With stable information. It is basically uniform weighting of soil profile. The better water use efficiency. How we can use that water efficiency. Then unstable flow means instability. The water bypass routes, the deep percolation losses means if we have given that unstable flow of water there, automatically your crop will die out because it will require there will be some limitations of water. So help design the drip irrigation system and optimize the water delivery to roots. There is also the problem of optimization. So that's why we have to be basically optimize the delivery of basically water in the roots of the crop. The soil salinity control. In a saline soil, the stable hydrodynamics ensure uniform leaching of salt. And instability causes uneven leaching. The salt accumulation in certain layers, essential for reclamation of saline alkyl soils. So now, when we have some crops, we also the people also using the pesticides and agrochemical. So that's why the pesticide and agrochemical movements this also require the stability because it depends upon the uniformity. That when we do the spray, that from the spray nozzle, when the pressure is coming out of the chemical, that should be uniform. It cannot say that in some direction it will be high, in another direction it will be low. Otherwise, the pesticide at some part of the crop it will be high and some part of the crop it will be low, and that will be cause a lot of disease in your crop. So that's why this is also most important challenging work on just designing your that spray system, which is basically deal with the stability. So stability of the flow in the porous media influence the pesticide spread. Uniform stable flow means pesticides stay in root zone for effectiveness, but unstable preferentially flow. This means chemical rich groundwater populations. Now, this is also wonderful applications. Now, the greenhouse and the hydroponic system. That in hydroponic and controlled media, hydrodynamic stability ensure the balanced water and nutrient distributions in the porous substrates like perlite, vermiculite, and cocopeat. You know that all these things we have used. So the prevents root stress due to the uneven nutrient supply. So these are the some applications in the basically the agriculture science and technology. After the instability, what will happen? When we say that okay, instability is done, that your flow, laminar flow is converted into the turbulence, then we have a disturbance species. So there we have a new complex laminar states that is direct transition or turbulence. So that's why we also deal what will happen when the flow become transition, flow become unstable or become basically laminar to turbulent. Now here, how to analyze or predict the instability? There is some way that is experimental, computational, and theory. These are the three that approach. Either we can examine experimentally or computationally and theoretically. What is the effect of an initial disturbance or laminar flow? That is the most important thing, that what is our initial disturbance is given to the laminar. Now, to the perturbations grow or decay. Now, when the perturbation is applied, if the perturbation is grow, then the system will be unstable. If perturbation is decay, then the system is stable. So at what value of the controlling parameter? There is only not a Reynolds number, but when the porous media will come into the picture, then there will be a lot of Reynolds number, Darcy number. If you are different kinds of fluid, then the paddle number. It's okay. Rayleigh number. So these are the controlling parameters. So under what restrictions or what are the limitations on these controlling parameter so that your flow is laminar, your flow is stable. So infinitesimal disturbance means it is unavoidable because you cannot avoid it. This is the basic thing that we are going to use in the stability. So then we have a linear stability theory. Linear stability theory means the disturbance is given to that disturbance is, we assume that's a linear disturbance. We'll see that how we are going to take that linear term of the disturbance, that is mathematically we'll choose. Now let us start from the wonderful the famous equation in the fluid flow, that is continuity. It's a continuity equation. Here rho is the density and u is basically velocity vector. So del rho by dt is a material derivative of the density. Material derivative, you know that you can express in the local acceleration and the convective acceleration. All these terms you can just elaborate it. D by dt is equal to del by del t plus the del means that is a gradient of u, that is basically appear there. So in the compressible fluid, you know that for the compressible fluid, we assume that the density is constant in the entire flow. So density is constant means its material derivative is going to be 0. So that equation is converted to the simple that del dot u equal to 0 means the partial derivative of u with respect to x and y, the component of xy is going to be 0. Now let us come to Navier-Stokes equation. Navier-Stokes equation is just when we have seen the proof of an Navier-Stokes equation. Before that we have a Stokes equations. Then again we have applied some the external forces. Then we'll say that Navier-Stokes equation. Navier-Stokes equation is basically based on the second law of Newton's of second law. That is the mass into acceleration is equal to applied some forces there on the control volume. So just remember that this is a Navier-Stokes equation, which is basically is given in equation 3. Here u is the velocity field, rho naught is the pressure, b is the body forces. Body forces is there, and nu is a kinematic viscosity, and this is a then operators. Okay. Now differential operators. So now let us consider how the linear stability theory works. The Navier-Stokes equation is there. So we deal that the continuity equation along with the Navier-Stokes equation. So boundary condition at the rigid surface, there is no slip and no penetration. If with a solid is boundary, because we have considered the pipe, so there is a solid boundary, so there will be no slip and no penetration. So we have to find out the basic state. Basic state means we assume that flow is laminar. Laminar means unidirectional, because in the first case we have seen that in the picture that it is the picture itself illustrates that the flow is only one direction, and in opposite direction there is no flow. So that's why we have to find out the basic state solution. What is that basic state solution? When you have a basic state solution, then we have to perturb this. This perturbation is a red line. That blue line is your basic solution, basic state solution. When it is perturbed, we have given some perturbation to there. This is the mathematically it is written in the equation, but it is just you can understand by this way, this picture. This is the blue line is your basic state. When you perturb it, this is nothing but your basic state plus perturbation. So now we need to understand, you know that basic state nothing but the solution of a laminar flow. So it will be same is there, but we need to understand the perturbation, whether this perturbation will decay or grow. If it is decay, then the system is stable. If it is growth, then system is unstable. So now, how to give this small perturbation? So that's why if v is a velocity, which is depend upon x and t, then this is equal to nothing but its basic state, which will not contain time. So that's why basic state means we need to consider the three conditions. One is steady flow, that is not depending upon time. The second is laminar. The third is fully developed. So these three assumptions will give me the basic state solution. So that's why this is the solution of mean flow or basic state flow. Then plus some delta is positive, very small delta, and then v prime of xt. This prime quantity is indicates the perturbation. So there is two basically physical quantities. That one is v and another is p. So now we have to perturb p also. The p is also depending on xt. So this is equal to again the pressure at initial state and then plus disturbance. So this delta is very less because this is an infinitesimal disturbance. Now let's come. Now, when you apply this, when this Vxt is replaced by V bar plus delta V prime here in this equation, and P is basically replaced by P bar plus P prime, then your equations will convert to this. This is a nonlinear term in the Navier-Stokes equation. This is equal to this one, that V dot del V. When you apply V bar plus V prime, then this V dot, the gradient of V is expressed as this. So now this is a trivial non-laminar flow contribution. So we are just going to deal the linear stability. So here we will omit all the terms which contain the higher power of delta. Only we'll consider the terms which contain delta only. So that's why we'll consider the linear perturbations. So when you are going to find out the equation, that means you need to consider the linear perturbation equation for the linear stability analysis. When we will think apart from this non-linear stability, there will be two theories. So that is not of my case here. Today, just I'm going to talk about the linear perturbation, so linear stability analysis. So that's why the perturbation is considered up to the order of delta. Now, let us come on this physical problem. As we know that in the hydrothermal event, the hydrothermal event is always basically a pipe flow. When the flow is coming out from the hydrothermal event, then there will be that is a porous also. The porous media is also there because the sand is a porous, even that soil is porous. But the porous is here we have considered the isotropic, not anisotropic. But in the nature, porous is always anisotropic. But the people have already, when we are going to just see the filters, that in the filters you have the pore size is equal. That means there is a porosity is constant. So that in that case we say that isotropic porous media. So now here we consider the pipe flow, that is a vertical pipe flow. It has a lot of applications in the marine science, in the oil recovery industries, in the nuclear system also, in the cooling system of electronic items. That's why this is the most important physical problem, to understand how this pipe flow or Paisley flow is stable or unstable. The assumption is the flow is upward here. First assumption is the flow is upward and it is filled with the porous media. And the wall have some temperature. TW means wall temperature, which is defined as T naught plus C1 R naught Z. It shows that T naught is a reference temperature. Wherever that your pipe is there, that's a reference temperature. But the temperature is increasing with respect to the axial coordinate. Now it happens when you have an oil recovery, then there you will have the temperature may increase linearly or may increase non-linearly. It will depend upon the depth of that basically when you are digging and whenever you are finding that you are crude oil. So that's why, because temperature when you are digging in the earth, that the temperature is varying. So that's why here we just assume that temperature is varying linearly. What are the assumptions while we are going to find out the solution? That the fluid and the porous medium are everywhere in the local thermodynamic equilibrium. That what is the local thermodynamic equilibrium? We know that if the pipe is suppose the pipe is filled with the basically porous media. So there is porous particle are the solid particles and the fluid is liquid. So when they will interact, so what about the basically the temperature of a porous particle and fluid? Because fluid have a different temperature and porous particle is a solid, it may have a different temperature. So what will be the temperature at the surface? If we assume that the temperature of the surface of the porous as well as the fluid is the same, that is known as a local thermal equilibrium. That we are talking about this locality, that's okay. The temperature of the surface of a porous particle as well as the fluid is same, but it is not equal in nature. It's not equal always. So that's why this is also wonderful the theory, that is a thermal non-equilibrium state. When we consider the temperature of the porous particle as well as temperature of the fluid is different, that is a thermal non-equilibrium. So here we have assumed that local thermal equilibrium means the surface having the same temperature. So let us come another assumption that the thermophysical property are assumed to be constant except the density, because density is depending upon the time also. So that's why temperature also the density changes. So here we assume other physical parameters same viscosity, viscosity of the fluid. We assume that constant. Clear, but density is not. Density is varying. Except the density, we assume that physical, all thermophysical property are constant. Now the media I already told you that we assume that media is isotropic. So now, what are the governing equations when we consider the generalized model in a porous media, that is known as a non-Darcy-Brickman four-camber model. So here we have taken only generalized model because we can, if we consider generalized model, we can go on the basic model also. So these are the basic equations, which is Navier-Stokes equation. First equation is a equation of continuity in a cylindrical coordinate. Then second equation number 5, 6, 7. These are the three equations in x, y, and z direction. Is r, psi, and z direction. If we consider r, psi, and z in that direction, what we have the three momentum equations. Okay, these are the momentum equations in different directions. So now we consider here that these are the non-dimensionalized equations. So let me talk about what are these things. That J is a linear, basically you can say that it's a linear operator. D square is a linear operator. Why J is not a linear? Because U del by del R plus V del V by R del by del psi plus psi del by del. This J is comes from the non-linear material derivative. V dot del V, that's a non-linear term. So that term, when you will convert the whole Navier-Stokes equations into the cylindrical coordinate by using the transformation, you will have this situation. Here, your F is a four-camber term, RA is a Rayleigh number, PR is a Prandtl number, and this is basically a lambda is just a ratio of that viscosity of fluid and effective viscosity. So now we need to just find the stability of this fluid. Let us come. So our first step is basic flow. How to find out the basic flow? Basic flow means this is steady, unidirectional, and fully developed. So now, who is Amit Kumar just writing anything else here? Yeah, hello. Mr. Amit ji, hello. Hello, am I audible? Hello.
Yes, sir, you are audible. Please go on.
Okay. So actually, so let us come on the what is the steady solution? Steady solution means that steady state means that it's not depending upon time. So all the derivative which involve times, they will die out from the equation. Unidirectional means the flow is only one direction. So let me draw something so that you will understand. Yes, here. Let us come here. Suppose this is our pipe. This is our pipe flow. Unidirectional means when you will have these are the coordinate axes. So, okay. Suppose this is R, this is psi, azimuthal wave direction, and this is Z. So when you will measure the velocity or other physical parameter at some height Z naught, unidirectional means it is the flow is only one direction. This is in Z direction. So flow is only in Z direction. So what about R? Since that this is a solid boundary, if you consider velocity, so velocity have a parabolic profile. Why parabolic? Because this velocity is only in the Z direction. So we know that in a pipe, the high velocity will be at the center because the pipe is a wall is a solid. There is no slip boundary condition. The velocity is going to be zero. So the velocity and the temperature of the wall is going to be 0. And the flow is going in one direction. So the maximum velocity will be at center. So you know that the maximum velocity maximum is occurs when we have a critical point. So that's why this profile will be parabolic. So this parabolic means the derivative at the center is going to be 0. So the maximum will be here. And due to the solid boundary, we have a no slip boundary condition. So the velocity at the solid boundary is 0. So that's why this profile will occur. What is the definition of a unidirectional or fully developed flow? Fully developed means we have this flow, okay, no problem. This is the point, for example. If we have, you have a cross section at Z1, then you have a cross section at Z2. This cross section is meridianal, it's a circular cross section. When you make a cross section here, it's okay. So the velocity at any point in here on this cross section, and the velocity and temperature and other physical parameter you measure here, that will same. Means this is a fully developed, means when you have a cross section here, 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 and here, wherever the cross sections you will make, that all physical parameter does not change. So these are the three assumptions. In this case, when we have a unidirectional flow, so your velocity vector v, if we have a v velocity vector, its component is u, v, w. So w we consider in the z direction. So there is no velocity in r direction, so u will be 0. There is no the flow in the psi direction, so v is 0. Only the flow in z direction, so only w will work. W is non-zero. Only the u and v velocity is going 0. And all the derivative with respect to time is going 0. So, okay. So if we assume this, then your previous equations, let us come over here. Then your previous equations, just see here. This first equation. When you will consider that all the time derivative here, from here, let us see that this time derivative is out, this time derivative is also out, this time even this whole equation is going out, because there is no u, there is no v, only the w equations will consider. So there is no time derivative, this is 0. Let us come here, j is this. So if you talk about the j of this, u is 0, so this is 0, v is 0, so this is 0. And here when we apply j on w, when you apply j on w, so w will be here. But w is a function of r, because the velocity is changing with respect to r. W is not a function of anything, but this is a function of r. So that's why this derivative with respect to z is also 0. So that's why this term is also 0. Now we assume that for the simplicity, because this is a non-linear term, we are getting this 0. So in the right hand side, all the terms are linear. This will be remain same, del p by del z. This d square, let us see, here it will be w. Here it will be w. When w will come here, so w is not a function of psi, so this is 0. When we put w here, w is a function of psi, this is equal to 0. This is the initial step solution. So we can say that initially we assume that w is nothing but w naught. So that's why the whole equation, whole this system, for the case of study laminar unidirectional, this are directly converted to this system. This is directly converted to this system. So okay, let me just finish it. Erasure. I'm just telling you the basic steps so that you will understand. Okay. So anyone can see that this is a simultaneous, or this is a coupled equations, linear coupled equations. Non-linearity is due to F. So nonlinearity due to F, we assume that F is 0. So the whole system can be solved analytically. And that you know that this derivative is of Bessel function. This derivative comes in the Bessel equations. So now, if we solve these two equations analytically, then we have this solution. I don't know who is working, another person who have written this one. Hello?
Hello, yes, sir.
I don't know who is disturbing this one. Any zigzag thing is making.
Yes, yes, yes.
Just a second, sir.
ये अमित कुमार, who is Amit Kumar Chauhan? Mr. Amit Kumar Chauhan. Amit Kumar Chauhan. I think some kid is there. It's okay. So can I continue? Yeah, madam, can I continue, please?
Yes, sir, please continue.
So now this is the set of equations. Now it can be solved very easily. Just and this is the solution. This is the analytical solution. In the beginning, I told you the first chapter. Linear flow is nothing but after the basic assumption, if we find a closed form solution, that solution will provide me the laminar flow. What kind of the velocity will be there, and how the basic velocity is changing as a function of controlling parameter. We have seen that previously here. In this controlling parameter are Darcy number, Rayleigh number. These are the two main things. Because Reynolds number will not depend upon that, because the basic state, we assume that the same flow, unidirectional, fully developed, everything concept will say. So that's why when we draw these pictures, then you can find the closed form solution. You plot the closed form solution in any software, you can plot. But what about the nonlinearity? Because the analytical solution can be possible when F is 0. When you have this F is 0. When we consider this, F is 0. So means this term is 0. But if F is not equal to 0, then this equation is not a linear equation. This is a nonlinear equation. So what method can be applied here? There are finite difference method. There are also basically a perturbation method. There is also the finite element method, spectral method. A lot of method is there. So I will use here just to solve for this problem. That's a different approach. I have used the GPC spectral collocation approach. That is another topic. But just remember that our aim is just to solve these two equations first, because we'll get the basic solution. Our aim is to either solve analytically or numerically. If your equation is linear, then you are able to find out the analytical solution. If it is non-linear, then you will automatically will take the help of numerical methods. So it depends upon your choice on which method you feel suitable, or which method is more easy on the implementation on such kind of equations. It depends upon you. But here I have used the fixed point Chebyshev spectral collocation method, fixed point iterative Chebyshev spectral collocation method. What is that fixed point means? You know that fixed point method. You have, if some of you have studied in mechanics, we have a point fixed point, then we are going to iterate it. But iterative means we are going to use the spectral method. Spectral method means a non-variable is also approximated. I'm not going in detail. I assume that the solution is over, that we have already obtained the solution. Suppose solution is there. So this is the solution. This is the solution. Here. So we have seen that as the Rayleigh number is increases, just see in the first case the velocity. Just in the similar that we can also interpret the similarly the temperature profile. This is the velocity profile. When the Rayleigh number is increased, means the heating is increased. Rayleigh number is basically control the energy, control the external heating. So external heating is just as RA is increasing, automatically heat is increasing. As heat will increase in the system, what do you think? The velocity will increase or decrease? Anybody give me the answer? If the flow is going on and we are just heating the system, what will happen? The flow will move fast or it will slow or it will remain same as we are going to increase the increasing the basically the temperature, enhancing the temperature in the system continuously. What will happen? We know that the fluid particles is also varying. The density is varying with respect to the that energy. And with respect to the temperature, temperature is increasing automatically, fluid flow is high. But you know that your pipe is fixed, okay? And we have assumed that's a large length. So there is a one law that, okay, where inlet flow is equal to outlet flow. You know that? So that's why the, the conservation mass is basically acting here. So that's why the flow, whatever the basically amplitude of the velocity or temperature is high somewhere else, automatically it will be down somewhere else. So just see here, as the RA is increasing, automatically the peak is near to the wall. R equal to 0 is here, R equal to 1 is here. So the peak is going wall. Wall why? Because the temperature is basically applied on the wall. So the fluid will move fast at the wall and it is retarded to the center. That's why it is become that state at the center, the retarded at the center, but it will be high at the vicinity of the wall. Because we at the vicinity, there will be high energy, there will be high, if we are increasing the temperature, the fluid will move very fast at the vicinity of the wall. So automatically the velocity will be high there. So these are the wonderful things just to see in the one picture. That same picture is also valid for all case. For all case of what? These three pictures are distinguished basically on the basis of Darcy number. Darcy number is 10 to the power minus 1, Darcy number 10 to the power minus 2, Darcy number 10 to the power minus. Darcy number means what kind of the porous media we are considered here, how the porosity is going to be changed. So this is your basic flow. When we are going to perturb it, then what will happen? So now let us come on the basic step, 2 or 3 steps of stability. This is the first case, you know, that we have to perturb the system. U, V, W, theta, P. These are my 5 variables. So 5 variables to be perturbed. Do you know what is the basic state of U? 0, because there is no U velocity. What is the basic V velocity? There is 0 V velocity. What is the W initial state? That is a W naught. So W naught is there. Then plus tilde quantity. U tilde, V tilde, W tilde. Theta means the temperature, initial temperature plus its perturbation. Pressure plus its perturbation. But in the beginning, there were only 2 variables. The velocity and the pressure was there in the beginning. So velocity is perturbed was what? V is equal to V bar plus delta times of V dash. Here we perturb U tilde because there is no basically that initial state. So only it will be tilde. So as this transformation is used in the previous 5 equations, these equations, if we talk about this one, all these 5 equations will convert into the perturbation form. Just put there and use the simple calculus. You will have this set of equations. And these set of equations are known as a disturbance equation. Our first step is over that, okay, mean flow is we have a basic state solution. Then second step, we have to perturb that solution. So that means that is the second step. We need to find out the perturb equations. So this is the second step is over. Third step is what kind of perturbations we are taking here, what kind of disturbance we are taking here. So we are just going to take here the normal mode analysis. We are taking the perturbation is normal mode. So what is that normal mode? Just see here. Yes, this is a normal mode analysis. All the perturb quantity u, v, w, t, theta, p, these are perturbed like this. If we consider u tilde is defined as u r into e raised to the power alpha z minus ct plus n psi. Where u r, you know that this perturbed velocity. Okay, system was in the first case okay unidirectional, but as we perturb that system, the velocity will bifurcate in all the direction u, psi, and z. So what is the velocity in r direction? That is u cap. What is the velocity in the psi direction? That is v cap. What is the velocity in the z direction? That is w cap. These are the perturbed velocity. After applying the disturbance, we have these perturbed velocities multiplied by some function. What kind of functions? Eigen function e raised to the power iota alpha z minus ct plus n psi, where alpha is a wave number, c is a wave, is complex wave speed, and n is a azimuthal wave number. Azimuthal wave number means we have a pipe flow at the axis. If it is an axis, for example, it is axis. So around this, how many times the flow is moving? So this is depending upon the azimuthal wave. How azimuthally it's moving. So that's why if it is it's not moving, only flow is going. So that is known as n is equal to 0. When that flow is moving once in the whole the pipe, that is known as the azimuthal wave number is 1. When we consider 2, it means that about the axis, that fluid is moving twice. So that is known as the azimuthal wave number. This is always an integer, 0, 1, 2, 3, and so on. Because how many times it's rotating, it is basically it's a basically integer, or you can say whole number. So now alpha is your wave number. It's not a azimuthal, it's just a wave number. C is your wave speed. Complex wave speed. C is complex wave speed means just remember how this is going to be work. You tell me when we are writing this e raised to the power alpha plus iota beta into t. So this can be written as directly, you know that e raised to the power iota beta t into e raised to the power alpha t. This is a bounded function. So it is does not affect on your the perturbation, whether it is decay or basically grow. So only it depend upon this alpha. If alpha is greater than 0, then at t tends to infinity, this function is tends to infinity. When alpha is less than 0, when it is less than 0, then e raised to the power minus alpha t tends to infinity, 0 is going to be 0. So that's why we need to find a situation where your whole decay, your whole perturbation is going to be 0. That is the case of a stability. Just see here, alpha is real, z is real, t is real, psi is real, n is real. Only c is a complex. So when you're writing this c, suppose c is nothing but cr real part plus iota ci complex part, and you just exponential function with e की power alpha z, e की power iota and psi, you just take it out because that is a bounded function. E raised to the power minus ct means e raised to the power minus crt minus icit. Icit again bounded, leave it. Only e raised to the power minus ka crt. So the real part of the wave speed, if it is positive, then stable because minus sign is there. When CR is negative, then minus of CR will be positive. So that perturbation is grow. So that is the situation of an instability. So we need to find the stability condition on what parameter or up to the what limit of the parameter this CR is coming negative or positive. So we here in this case we are getting e raised to power minus ka CRT. So we have to find out when CR is positive. So this is the way that we are just implementing the basic steps in the computer. How that stability can be or that this CR or CIs can be evaluated as per the critical values of your physical parameters. So now let us come. Is it time is over? Yeah. Time heavy. Just I need 5 minutes just to elaborate the basic state. And I will share my PPT. You can understand stepwise. No problem. If time will permit, then I will continue. No problem. So these are the some boundary conditions. Okay, attitude will depend upon the situation. Then when the fluid is moving 1, 2, 3 means when so some disturbance, some echo is there. No. Yes, okay. So now we need to find out this system. So that is again we have applied the spectral because basic flow is solved by the spectral method. That nonlinear flow automatically that stability is also find by using the spectral collocation. That is spectral collocation, even just leave spectral. You know the collocation method. The collocation method directly differential equations is converted into the set of simultaneous equations, simple equations, linear equations, non-linear equations that can be easily solved. So the collocation method is directly differentiation is converted into the equation form. So we have that's why just because the system is very complicated, but when you apply the simplest method, that whole differential equations is converted into the set of simultaneous equations, algebraic equations. Okay, it may be linear, nonlinear. Since we have studied linear, we have already linearized the equation. Automatically, all the simultaneous algebraic equations will be linear. So we will have a generalized eigenvalue system. Ax is equal to lambda bx. Just see here, when you apply this method, these are the set of algebraic equations converted into the Chebyshev variable. Okay, means whatever your method doesn't matter, but just you need to solve that equation. That set of ordinary differential equations, this one. These set of equations you have to solve. Equation of 22 to 25, 26. If you are able to solve them, and if you apply some other method, you know that 1 upon r is there, that singularity is there. To just at r equal to 0, we have also the boundary condition at r equal to 0 for different time. And even the complex boundary conditions is there. How to implement the complex boundary conditions here? That is also one challenging point. But here, I have already solved completely. I have already find the solutions of that set of equations, and we have already calculated the stability boundary. So now all the conditions have been implemented very nicely in the spectral method only, because that method is very nice just to convert the whole ordinary or partial differential equation into the set of algebraic equations. Let me that my left is okay. So now here, let us come on the finding. So this system, mathematically, I'm just going to talk about. When mathematically, you will have a AX is equal to CBX system. So we know that C is an eigenvalue. So how to find out the eigenvalue of this system? Can you tell me? Anyone can be tell. Anyone who is good in linear algebra. How we can find out the eigenvalue of AX equal to CBX? Till most of the people know that AX is equal to lambda x. That is an eigenvalue system. But this is the AX is equal to CBX. This is a generalized eigenvalue system. So how to find out the eigenvalue? Any idea? Any one of you will give me the answer that how we can find out the eigenvalue? Mathematically. Any participant? Any participant? No idea. Huh? It will depend upon B. If your B is non-singular, then we just multiply the B inverse. Then B inverse A of X is equal to CX. B inverse of A is some matrix, suppose A tilde X is equal to CX. So that generalized system can be converted into the ordinary eigenvalue system. But here we need a non-singular matrix B. But in my case, or in this case, B is not singular because of boundary conditions. Just see boundary conditions. In the right hand side, the boundary condition is several parts is 0. When you implement the boundary condition, your right hand side is going to be 0. And when right hand side is going to be 0, so automatically the coefficient in the right hand side of all the parameters u, v, w, theta, p is going 0. So some rows completely 0 in the right hand side. So our B is not 0. B is not basically is not a non-singular. It's a singular matrix. When it is singular, that means we cannot convert into the system of ordinary system of eigenvalue problem. So now how to do it? So there is a lot of methods to find out the eigenvalues, but it's a wonderful method has been explained by Khorami and Malik. That is a paper of in JCP, Journal of Computational Physics. What he has just used a transformation, and just transformations. He's just finding the basically similar eigenvalue system to this one. Do you know that what are the similar matrices? Similar
Hello?
matrices have someone.
Sir,
Yeah,
am
hello.
I audible?
Yeah, hello.
Sorry to interrupt you, sir, but our next session is in line and sir is waiting.
Okay. Just give me 1 minute. Huh? So
Yes,
that's
sir.
why we have to calculate it, and it can be calculated by using the MATLAB. In a MATLAB, that the same thing is here. We just calculate the eigenvalues. After eigenvalues, you just plot your just to find your that basically critical values, critical parameters. Just as say here, these are that your perturbed velocities, temperature, stream functions can be very easily obtained. And this is whatever the picture is you have seen here. That is a projection of the disturbance temperatures in the meridional section. Meridional section is when you cut from the z-axis. But there is also cross section when you cut the pipe directly whole pipe. So your cross section will be circular. So what will be the velocity, temperature, stream function in this circle in the basically circular cross section? These are some pictures which can be from which we can predict how our secondary flow is moving. So this is the most important thing. Till now, it's only few people have obtained these things. It is very tedious task just to find out all these perturbed quantity. So after obtaining this, there is some physical interpretation of these problems. So you need to go through that. And these are some conclusions. I will share my PPT because the time is limited, and so that's why. And these are some references I've used in the PPT. Now I welcome you all for asking some problems.
Thank you so much, sir. That was very enriching session and we look forward to the discussion now. Participants, you can unmute yourself and ask sir questions directly, or you can drop them in the comment section. We'll read them out to sir.
Actually, ma'am, this is not the topic of online teaching. This is need a physical interaction so that the student can learn. Because it required a lot of calculations in each steps. That is a challenging in online only.
But sir, you performed it very well.
Yeah, anyone, I think, and if you have any queries, I don't know whether I have written
Sir, good
name or
afternoon,
not.
sir. So good
Yeah.
afternoon, sir.
Yeah.
Your session is very nice, especially for the non-Darcy, the easily flow through the pipe and stability analysis. So
Yeah.
my question is, in application point of view, and how to boundary condition influence the stability result in, especially for non-Darcy flows, sir.
Actually, it will depend. We know that when we talk about the viscous flow, means there is no porous flow. There is no porous media. So automatically, when the porous media come into the picture, there will be two kind of forces will act. Okay. The wonderful one thing is that the four-camber move. That is the drag force. When the flow is coming, when the velocity is very high, so there is the particle itself acting on the fluid particle that acting some force, that reverse force will there. Have you seen in some river that there is some stone is there, the flow is coming on the stones and that flow is coming back. That kind of force is known as a drag force. So drag force is acting in the reverse of the direction. So this kind of forces will acting, as well as what kind of the porous media you are taking in the system. That is depend upon the porosity or permeability. Permeability means when we have a porous matrix, then there is some porous matrix, so it has its permeability. Permeability means it is the capacity of flowing. How many amounts of fluids can be transmitted? So, okay, so that's why this
Yes.
is the most important thing, that when the permeability is high, means fluid flow is high in that system. So it will depend upon the physical parameter. Definitely depend on the physical parameter.
So that means the
Even the
boundary
boundary condition
condition.
also. Even the boundary
Yeah,
condition
boundary
also.
condition is a no sleep versus the partial sleep.
Yeah, no sleep means you know that we have solid boundary. If we have a free boundary, then no sleep will not come there, na?
Yeah.
That's why.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. I would
Okay,
now
thank you, ma'am.
like to
And
proceed.
thanks a lot for inviting me, and thank you very much, Dr. Ajay and you, ma'am,
Sir,
for
we are
giving me
looking
such a
forward to
wonderful
having you in
opportunity.
our hybrid session, which will be held in the December.
Hmm.
We
Yeah,
look
yeah, ma'am.
forward to your presence.
Definitely, I will come. Definitely. Okay, ma'am. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much again. Huh?
I would like to proceed further with a formal vote of thanks to you. On behalf of the organizers and all participants, I extend my heartfelt gratitude to Dr. Ashok Kumar sir for delivering such an insightful and engaging lecture. Your expertise, clarity of explanation have truly enriched our understanding and inspired further exploration of the subject. We sincerely thank you, sir, for taking out time to take this. Thank you,
Okay,
sir.
thank you, ma'am. Thanks a lot. Yeah, thank you.
We now move towards the second session of the day. It is privileged to welcome Dr. N. Srinivasan, Professor, Department of Mathematics, IIT Guwahati. Sir, are you here with us? Dr. Srinivasan.
Yes,
sir.
yeah. So let me share the screen.
Sure, sir.
Is it visible?
Yes.
It's visible, sir.
Okay, shall I start?
I'd just like to take a moment to formally invite. Sir holds PhD from Bharati Dasan University and postdoctoral research fellow at Center for Mathematical Modeling, University of Chile, Santiago. Sir has more than 25 years of teaching and research expertise and has published more than 160 research articles. Sir will be delivering on neural networks to solve differential equations and applications to weather derivative model in option pricing. Over to you, sir.
Okay, thank you very much. Good evening to all. So yeah, we already got delayed. So without further delay, so let me start. So thanks for the organizers for calling me to deliver the talk on the FDP on applied mathematical techniques in agriculture, science and engineering. So this is the talk what we are going to do. At the end, we are going to see something on this weather derivative model, which is related to the agriculture, or what we are going to see the PDE. Now we are going to solve those partial differential equations by using the neural networks. The recent trend we are seeing everywhere, the machine learning has been becoming very popular in all the domains. So from the differential equation perspective also, how that will be used to solve the differential equations in an efficient way. Then as application, we'll try to see some problem from the finance. Then at the last one, we will try to see on the weather predictive model. So this is the outline, but we are going to see some introduction to machine learning. Then in the option pricing, PD is how we are going to use the neural network. Then with the market data, we try to validate. Then we will see the weather derivative pricing. Then we summarize. That one we are going to see in the next 50 minutes. So this is exactly the machine learning. So everybody is popular today about machine learning, what they are trying to make here and there, trying to look for. So this is basically we are having the data sets. We will be able to collect it from different domains. that may be from the medical data, or that may be from the financial data, or from the traffic flow, whatever, or some of the human bodies, anything. Then we try to train the machine with a part of the data sets with some specific task. Then once the machine is trained, then we can try to feed any data, then the machine will be able to give you the result at the very short duration of the time. Okay, so here basically there are three core elements. If you try to see first the data, getting the data set is a big task. It's not very easy. Then we have to try to make a model. That is that. Then we will have to make the learning. That is the architecture part. We will be able to see what type of things. And this is the workflow. If you try to see here, so this is the data set. We will be able to extract. This is a big task. Okay. Most of the time, the data set may not be in the format which we are trying to look for. Therefore, one has to extract the data, and then they have to play some time to refine the data and then to make that to be utilized in the model. Then there are a lot of parameters here. So this is a multi-parameter problem. Okay, so this is to optimize the learning process. So here we are having the bias, we are having the weights, we are having the learning rate, and so many other parameters. That is a multi-parameter problem. So we have to be very careful when we are trying to tune the parameters. Okay, even the small perturbation and now those parameters will try to make the learning process very complicated. Once the machine is trained, then the machine, the model, the architecture, whatever we are going to make, that will try to perform well, not only on the training data, that is very important. Because if they work on the training data, then there is nothing special. Therefore, even on any other data set, okay, that way the whole data, when we are trying to make testing, we try to divide the data into three parts. The one is the hello. Am I audible? But someone is talking.
Sir, audible. Sir, you are audible.
Okay. Yes, sir. Yeah, you know, some other crosstalk is there. I thought that maybe I am not audible, that way I asked. Yeah, once they are trained to perform that, that way the main data set, we try to divide it into three components. One is the training, another is the testing, the third one is the validation. Just to ensure that the machine learning. So these are the major three types, the classifications we can try to make the machine learning. So the first one is the supervised learning, where the data are very well organized with some labels and so many other nice formats. Whereas unsupervised learning, the data is not very much organized, no labels, nothing. And in semi-supervised, it will be in between both, we'll be able to have. So these are the major classifications we can try to make. So here we can see the supervised learning, as I said, the data is very well labeled and it is very well to process easily on the learning part of the machine. So some of the examples are this neural network and then the SVM, what we call the major two parts of the supervised learning. Unsupervised learning, as I pointed out, when we are trying to extract the features from the data, so we will be able to face a lot of difficulties, and that will not be very well organized on the label format. So here the main thing which we can use this reduction of the dimensionality or try to clustering the data. In between both, we'll have the semi-supervised learning, where we will be able to use the GAN, that is the generative adversarial neural network, and RL, reinforcement learning, and other stuff. So this is the one. So we are all very familiar with what is your ANN. So this is the schematic diagrams we try to see here. This is your nucleus, where we have the dead trees. Then we have the cell body, and then this axon terminals. Similar to this, to the biological neuron, we can try to make an artificial one, where we are having some inputs. These are all called the futures in the machine learning language. Here we are having some activation function, where we are having some bias. Then with some weights. Then these are the black box, these neutrons. Then neutron will get to give you the output, what we are trying to look for, and the black box kind of. So this is exactly what we are going to make. So here there are various types of neural networks are there. ANN, CNN, RNN, deep neural network, and so many other things. Okay, they are all different variants of the neural network which we are trying to look for. Okay, so if we come to the activation function, there are again plenty of activation function exists. We can try to see here the well-known function, the sigmoid function. The graph of the sigmoid function is given over here, which is 1 over 1 plus exponential minus x. So this will try to make that the input to the range 0 to 1. Okay, so this will be used for the classifiers. If you want to try to classify like your random forest, binary, or tree, and all those things. Now the hyperbolic tan, you'll be able to see here the combination of exponential plus and minus x. And this will map between -1 to +1. This is the graph which is shown over here. So this will be very good for the PDS which we are going to solve in our case today. Another one is that ReLU, so rectified linear unit. The ReLU itself, there are a lot of variants. Here we can see there is a non-smooth part. So this will be smoothed on by using various different forms of the modifications. Another one which is very important is called this learning rate. Okay, how much we are going to choose the learning rate and how that is going to affect. We cannot choose this arbitrarily, very small or very large. We try to take too small, then we will be in trouble because that will reduce the speed of the convergence. It will take a lot of epochs to converge. And if we try to take bigger values, then that will try to make some stability issues. Therefore, we have to choose this in an appropriate way. So this is a big task. I already told this is a multi-parameter problem, and one of the hyperparameter is your learning rate. If you try to control the steps that is in the box, the number of iterations. And the another one is the optimizer, because all the problem what we are going to do, we are going to minimize the loss. Okay. So how to minimize the loss, and I wanted to determine the minimum one. That here we can see using the gradient based methods, band propagation and all. So here this is basically we use the atom optimizer, and basically the name is this adaptive moment estimator. We can try to estimate, and this is one of the stochastic gradient basically. So if you want to find out that minimizing the residue, we know when you want to solve that Ax is equal to B, what we will do the optimization based methods, we try to take the quadratic form, which is defined as half times x transpose Ax minus B transpose x. And if we try to find the gradient, we will be able to obtain that your Ax minus B or B minus Ax. So that is exactly solving the system. A similar idea over here, but here the gradient what we are trying to calculate is the stochastic gradient. In the order optimizer, the advantage is that this is one of the best one because this will try to capture the global maximum rather than the local ones. So you can see here, when we are trying to use the neural network ANN as it is to solve the differential equations, either ODE or PDE, we won't be able to obtain satisfactory results because the physical law, when we are trying to form a differential equation, we will be able to try to take many physical things into consideration. Suppose if we are considering a fluid flow, then I want to make the fluid is a Newtonian, non-Newtonian, what type of the viscosity, what is the pressure, so many things will be taken into consideration. Then we will try to see whether this forms your Stokes or Navier-Stokes or Euler or micropolar fluid and all. So either way, there are several physical things have to be taken into consideration along with the boundary conditions. This all depends on the nature of that, the physics behind the physics. Okay. So if we try to apply the ANN simply on this, you won't be able to obtain the desired result. Therefore, one has to try to go for a special one that is called the PIN, that is called physics informed neural network. Okay. So here, before going into that, we'll try to see something on the polynomial neural network. So here we are having the input, and this is the polynomial functions. So it depends on various polynomials. We already know the special functions. Well, Lagrange, then you are having what the Lagore, your Chebyshev, so many other functions. These things can be used as the activation function. Then we'll able to have the your weight that what we are trying to make along with the bias. Then we'll able to obtain the output. This is that one. So the mathematical framework, if you try to see here, so I'm having a data set. You know, similar data set we use in the interpolation also. This is different from the normal use of the data set which we try to use in the interpolation. So here we try to take the probability density function into consideration. Suppose this is your data set corresponding to each xi, xj, I have some oj, where for j1 to n, each xj is an rm, is in rm. So that is the vector each one. So what we will do, we will try to feed this data inside the activation function denoted by capital F. Then we try to generate that the solution space. Now we know, so I can try to express the solution yn, that is your output, what you are seeing over here. That is a linear combination of all these vectors. Okay. So these are the vectors. So we will try to generate the linear combination of that. And here, these are the lambda i's. We have to try to determine or optimize it such that this will become minimum. Okay, so that is the idea. So we wanted to determine the parameter lambda such that we are able to see here the loss which we are trying to make this R min that will become minimum. So what is that? So we want to try to optimize that lambda j such that for each training sample, your Vj equal to this much. Where V is the n-dimensional vector, lambda are this, and we can try to see here, this is your psi of xn, where we know each xn is a m-dimensional vector in Rm. So now, as a result, we are able to see here the matrix which we are trying to get the chi hash. This is going to be non-square matrix, rectangular one. And this one denotes the generalized inverse of that. Okay, so this is the idea of for any sample data. If I am able to give a data, I wanted to find out the lambda such that this will become the required accuracy of the solution. For that, we try to minimize this. This is the general idea. So the data set may be the numerical numbers, or that may be some geometrical figures. Okay, you can have some images, or you can have the voice. Okay, anything you can try to make. All I will try to convert to numbers, and then I will try to play. So this is the ultimate idea, and this is the final setup of this machine learning. Okay, so now we can come to your PIN, which I was pointing out, physics informed neural network. So here, this last function, which we are going to try to make, is going to consist of three parts. One is the residue corresponding to the differential equation, the another one corresponding to the boundary condition, the third one corresponding to the initial condition. Then all these three things from the equation, boundary initial conditions will give you the total loss. I wanted to find out minimizing this loss as an optimization. The way we are going to do it. Suppose this is the differential operator. It may be any linear, non-linear, doesn't matter. Here I give you just this x may be, my vectors may be n-dimensional problem, doesn't matter. 2D, 3D, we can do any equation here. That's not a no constraint. Then corresponding to that equation depends on the physics of the problem. We'll have boundary conditions, initial conditions. Okay. So what we have to do, we have to try to discretize the domain. And here the discretization is not like the finite difference or finite element, whatever we try to make. We try to give random number of ones on the domain. That is, this method is also called meshless methods. So certain points on the interior, certain points on the boundary. Okay. Then what we have to do, we have to choose a new neural network, which have the architecture, which will be good enough to solve that problem. For example, we can try to make the fully connected feed-forward neural network. And the input, these are all called the features. These are the x and the coordinates. The t, that is for your time part, spatial and time components. And the predicted value will be able to obtain, that is the output. After going inside the black box, we are going to obtain the results. So here we have to choose some activation functions on each of the neuron, which is going to work as the thing. Then we have to choose the hyperparameters. How many number of layers we require, how many number of neurons we require, all those stuff. Then we can try to define the total loss. So that consists of the following three: from the equation, boundary, and then the initial conditions. Yeah. So this is a schematic diagram of a feed-forward neural network. You can try to see here, these are the features, which we call the input layer. And these are the hidden layers. They are fully connected. You can try to see here. And these are all the activation functions. Okay. And how many neural hidden layers you want, you can try to choose. How many neurons you want on each of the layers, that also is up to the person to decide. Then we'll be able to obtain the output layer. Once this input features go inside, we'll be able to obtain the output layer. Then using the auto differentiation, we make the back propagation. Okay. So we'll try to go here forward. This is the back propagation. We'll try to determine the derivatives which are going to appear in the differential equation using the auto differentiation. So here in this talk, we restrict to our auto differentiation, but it need not to be. We can try to make any of the numerical schemes here, and we can try to obtain the result. That is that later, of course, we don't have much time today to discuss in this 1 hour. Later, in some other occasion, we can try to see. So this is basically the layer. What is going to happen? That this is the activation function, which is going to be here. You can see here. So this is the activation function. So these are your weights in the bias. Then I will be able to determine the parameter overs. Okay. So basically, we wanted to determine the parameters to minimize so that the loss will become minimum. Okay. So this is the forward and this is the back propagation. So here, as a diagram, this schematic, the flow chart for your pin physics from neural network, we try to see here. The deep neural network. So this is the X. These are the corresponding components. This input variables. This is the features. These are activation function, number of neurons and all connected, those things. Here we will able to obtain that U. Once that is obtained, then I will try to pass to this part. And try to see here. So try to use the auto differentiation. So that is exactly the same. So you will able to use the auto differentiation to determine the derivative with respect to time, the space, first and second derivative, and so on. Depends on the differential equation. Then from the PDE, I can try to determine the loss, that is the mean square loss corresponding to the PDE. Similarly, corresponding to the initial and the boundary condition. Then I can try to make the total loss. Then I will try to check whether the total loss is less than the tolerance which we are trying to make. It may not happen the very first few iterations. Then we try to change that optimizer. Then we try to determine. Then I will try to run the loop as many times. Either the total loss will be less than the required bound or the maximum number of iterations have been reached. Then we can try to stop. Till then, we try to repeat the process. So calculate, then try to update your P and Q, then you will try to run. This is the number of efforts you will try to make till we obtain the required Qs. So here there are a few neural networks. Just for an idea, I will give. We may not have much time to see. So the first one is your RNN, where we are having the recurrent neural network. And this is the architecture, input argument, and this is the hidden layer, and then the output layer we are able to see over here. So how that will work? Anyway, I will skip this part. We don't have much time to see. Yeah. So this comparison, which will tell us between the RNN, this is LSTM, long short-term memory, and this is your GR which we are going to see over here, gated recurrent unit. So there are some variations. You can try to see here the vanilla, that is without any flavor, that is the normal one of recurrent. Label to see here, this is the activating function, then use the bias and then the weights. So here there are different ways they will try to make the combinations of those. Here we will be able to see here, we try to see the memory. So the standard RNN is very poor, whereas in the LSTM and the GRU is excellent. So similarly, other things, efficiency, we try to see here, high efficient, whereas the LSTM, but for certain cases, the LSTM will be good, certain cases RNN, certain cases some other things. So that way here nothing is fixed. If one thing will work for one problem, the same thing I can't trust, the same thing will do it for the other problem. Okay, so that's all problem dependent. The another one is your deep galaxy. So here, instead of using your auto differentiation, we try to make the Gallagher method to determine the loss from the PD. So that is the difference between the general auto differentiation to this. Yeah, so this is the one. So we can try to see here, starting from the input argument. This is the weight and then the bias. So we'll be able to using the activation function. Then I will try to pass through into different DGM layers. Then I will have put out time SL+1. So now I will try to update. I can rewrite the same thing in the case of solving the PDs, that is using your DGM. This is for the single layer we are trying to make. This is exactly how I am updating SL+1. So this is the single layer DGM. We are able to see here what that. Starting from the input argument to all, update till the new one. So now what we will do, since this talk we are going to focus more on the option pricing. Okay. So when you are talking about these options, you know, so if you want to invest the money in the share market or in the mutual fund or something, then obviously one person will look to see where we will have the minimum risk with maximum profits. Okay. So now, how to make those things? That is the question. So for that, the financial engineering, there is a topic, or mathematical finance or computational finance, that will try to give us a big understanding. That is a mathematical component. So there, the options have been classified into two parts. One is the call, the other is the put option. And depends on the time of maturity, one can take to exercise the option at the final time, then that is called the European option. But in all cases, we don't need to wait till the maturity. If I am able to get some profit or some need, I should be able to exercise it before. In that case, I will be able to have the American option. In all this, the American and then this European case, we'll be able to have the, they are called the standard options, vanilla option, because without having any flavor as like the previous one. But in practice, if you try to see the value of the stock or whatever it may be, that is not going to depend only on today's rate. That is going to depend on the past history. Therefore, one can ask what will be the past history, how to take those path dependent options, they are called. So I can try to make some arithmetic mean or geometric mean, the continuous or the discrete sense for those cases. In that case, we'll be able to have some exotic options. They are called special cases, and they are called Asian options, path dependent, and so many things. So just for understanding and try to see how this machine learning will work, we try to take the simplest standard European call option. Here you can see B is the value of the option, which depends on S and T. And the domain is up to infinity. So I try to restrict that to some finite domain. Then I will be able to have the terminal value, that is the value of the option at the time of expiry. This is the straight price we will be able to see here. Then using the equal parity, we will be able to have the boundary conditions. Let S is equal to 0. The value of the option is 0. That is basis basically the asset. It may be any stock, or it may be the gold, any value, or any cash, foreign currency, anything it may be. So this is the asset, this is the time. And the value of the P depends on the asset as well as on the time. Okay, this is called the volatility. And here we can see this is the interest rate, this is the dividend. You can see here the simplest model, all the volatility, interest rate, dividend, they are all constants. But in practice, they are all functions of time as well as the functions of the asset value. In that case, you won't be able to have the exact solution for those cases. Then the only option is try to find out some numerical approximate values. Okay, so this is what we are going to do. So here we use the polynomial neural network in order to simulate the Black-Scholes PDE. Okay, so we will try to see how that we will try to perform. Okay, so here I have the exact solution because this is the simplest model. We have the Black-Scholes formula. This is called the Black-Scholes PDE. Okay, there are 3 people contributed: Black-Scholes and then Merton. They got the Nobel Prize for math, not for mathematics. There is no Nobel Prize. So for the economics perspective, they got the Nobel Prize for this model. This is one of the well-known PDE modeling that. So here we try to determine the mean square error, and mx is the number of points used in the asset, and this is the number of points used in the time part. Then I will be able to determine the mean square error defined over here. For this computation, we try to take n equal to 5. That is the number of layers we will be able to make it. Then this is the learning rate, 10 raised to -3. And in each of the domain, we try to make number of the points 100 each. Use the Lagori neural network. You can try to see here the mean square error defined over here. That is this much. Number of epochs 10, 20, 30, 40, and all. And if you use the legendal polynomials as the activation function, then this is going to be the error. You can see here the Hermite. You can try to make more things. Okay, so this is the one. So if you try to make the Lagori neural network, and this is the value of the option, which is the predicted one. The difference between the predicted and then the exact one you'll be able to see here. So this is we try to make the 50 number of epochs. So if we try to increase, we'll be able to obtain better smaller error. That means the approximation will become better. So here we try to make the physics informed neural network to solve the same equation by using 100 training points for the asset as well as on the time. We try to use the Adam optimization. Then the learning rate is same as before. And we are trying to make only 5 hidden layers. And each of the layers contain 128 neurons. Okay. Then if we try to train the machine and try to run, if we increase the number of epochs from 10 to 40, we are able to see here the error is reduced significantly. Okay. Now one can ask the question, instead of using the 5 layers, we try to make 50 layers. Instead of 120, we try to take 1000 neurons in each of the layer. Whether I will get better error, that means the error become minimum. The answer is no. We cannot simply increasing the layer in the neuron alone will not solve the purpose. Okay, one has to be very careful about all. This is another parameter which I was pointing out. This is the learning rate. We try to perturb this little bit 5 times, 10 raised to -3 by 10, then all things will get collapsed. Okay, how to choose the doctrine? These are all trial and error. So one should have some priori knowledge to make that for using them any neural network. So here the results are obtained by using PNN, physics informed neural network. So here we are using the RNN. Okay, just to show you. Since we are trying to make the comparison, so the training points, learning rate, and the optimizer all we have fixed. So here we try to make the hyperbolic tangent, tan H, and the activation function. We have taken 2 hidden layers and 20 neurons each. Then we can see here, we are able to obtain better results up to 40 epochs. The mean square error is decreasing significantly. And if we try to use the deep Galerkin method, the same as before. So here the activation function is the sigmoid. Earlier on we used the hyperbolic tank. So here also we can try to see the same. Only one layer I have taken and 20 neurons. Then you can see here we get that very nice error. See almost the same as like what we are trying to get over in these cases, where we are having 2 hidden layers and 20 neurons. Rather, we can try to make only one hidden layer, 20 neurons. So here the computation time will be less. So this is the predicted solution. This is the error you can see here. It's 0.06. Whereas here, you can see here this 0.12, where we try to make up to 50 epochs, where we try to make, yes, this using the polynomial method. For the time, the lesson is not simply to increase the neuron. So here, which I was pointing out, this is the Asian option. This is a 2-dimension. So we are having more than one asset, a 2-dimension. So that means 2D. And this I is the average of your past history of that. Okay, so because of that, we are having one extra term over here. 2D means one is on asset, another is on the average of that asset price, and another one is the time. Basically, this is 3D. We call 2D means the space we exclude. The earlier case we call one-dimensional parabolic 3D. This is the 2-dimensional. Here we can try to see here one extra condition. So we'll be able to solve that in this problem. Omega 1 cross 2 cross 3. We try to determine the mean square error, the loss function, so corresponding to the initial boundary and then corresponding differential equation. We'll be able to obtain. So here the right hand side is 0. So that's why this is 0 minus this f. Okay, these are the boundary and the initial conditions. And then we can try to define the f from the original equation. We can try to make the predicted value. Here we try to make 200 points for the initial, for time, and then for the boundary points. And the interior we try to make 2200 points. We try to make 6 layers, 20 neuron each. Okay, and the 32 test points, we try to make it on each of the variables. We try to determine the mean square error, okay, which will be given over here. You can see the mean square error, relative L2 error, and then the maximum error. All 3 we have determined. And we can try to see here by using the pin, we try to simulate, we are able to get that. Now the number of epochs are increased. Here, because of the problem was very high problem, very simple. But here you see dimensional problem. So we'll have more number of epochs are required. Accordingly, you can try to see the errors are becoming very reasonable error. Here the maximum error is 10 raised to minus 4, and here this is relative L2 error 10 raised to minus 5. Mean square error is 10 raised to minus 10. You can see the CPU time also we have given. So we try to increase the epochs from 80 to almost 4 times. You can see here that 4 times it increases. Okay, so this is the comparison. And these are the predicted values for different time. And then accordingly, the corresponding errors we can try to see over. This is to 10 raised to minus 5. You can see here, this is the error. Okay. Same thing, we'll be able to see. This is 10 raised to minus 5 in terms. This is the asset price, and this is the average, and this is your versus your. At particular fixed time, you're able to have the errors. And here the similar plots tells the number of epochs versus the error. The number of epochs increases, you can see the errors are falling down. This is your mean square error, which is very small comparing to a relative R2 and then the maximum errors. Similarly, we can try to see the loss function also. The loss also will decrease enormous. The number of epochs goes from 1 to 4000. You can see here it starts from 10 raised to minus 1 to 10 raised to minus 10. Yes, the PD loss, total loss we are able to see. And more realistic thing, where we have integral PD, where we have some jump diffusion models. So this is the Merton one. Here we have various types of jumps. That is basically the discontinuity we are able to have. Now, one term we are extra, we have to calculate this integral. This is the integral PD. How to determine the integral PDE. And you can see here, this is the kernel, your psi. This is depends on the models, we'll be able to have different PDs. Okay, so this is your psi, and this is your kappa. You can able to see here. This is the jump diffusion. Yes. So here, this is the partial integral PDs. The same one thing we have to use the quadrature to determine this integral. So this is the modified. The same thing may not work over here. So what we have to do? We have to try to make the original one. In addition to that, auto differentiation label there the integral also to be determined. Okay. So make some quadrature formula to determine the integrals. So this is the auto differentiation where the derivatives are calculated, where the integral is determined, then I will be able to calculate. Okay, so there is one extra thing over here. Again, I will define the residue. We can try to see here the epochs versus the error along the CPU. You can try to see here the mean square error decreases a lot comparing to the maximum number later, like the previous case. Then also we are trying to take 200 neurons and 128 test points. We are able to determine these are the parameter values. This is the predicted and then the error. These are all some more technical in terms of what we call in the finance. These are called the Greeks, theta, gamma, delta, vega, and anyway, don't have much time to explain. So I will skip this model. I will directly go to our final one. Yeah, so here what we did, we collected some market data from Yahoo Finance, and we tried to see how this the methods what we have studied are applicable in the real market data, the empirical data we got it. Then we try to make the result. We can try to see here. This is the contract number we give in Google. So this is corresponding to the Google option prices. You can see this is the time of maturity in years. So the things will mature, expired already, 16/20/25. The values of the options are in US dollars. You have to see here, this is the blue one is the real market option pricing. And the Black-Scholes formula is the red one. And what we predicted, the black one, you can see here, how accurate those things. Of course, there are some deviation at some places. This is for the Google stocks. And if we try to make this NVIDIA, we'll be able to see the same thing here, the number of years versus the US dollar. We'll be able to see the peak, the oscillations of the market. Okay. The strike price here is say 80, so here is 110. The third one we can try to see for this Apple, the same, you can try to make those markets and we'll be able to see the predicted market and then the Black-Scholes form, all three, how they are coincides. So you can see although there are some deviations, but still the theory works well. This is the last part of our talk. We don't have much time, maybe another 5 minutes, 5 to 7 minutes I will complete. So this is what we call the weather derivative price. Okay, so this is one of the very risky factor. It depends on the weather. We have to choose, for example, here, this figure you can see here. Suppose I wanted to sell sunglasses. Then the preferred weather is for me hot sun, not during the rainy weather or the winter. People may not buy. Whereas if I want to sell some raincoat, I won't be able to sell it in the hot weather. So that is not the preferred one. The preferred one is the rainy weather. Okay. So now we can see, depends on that. Oh, this is just an example I showed you. in your agriculture, we can try to see the same thing. Suppose you can try to make the paddy, then we can try to see the preferred weather to cultivate and then to store and then to sell. How much risk we are going to take. The same, the vegetables, if you want to make, then how that is going to be get affected due to the weather. That way we can try to make many other things from your agriculture product. Okay, if you want to make a wheat, then accordingly you can try to choose. It depends on the lifetime we'll able to make and depends on the whether we'll able to take the risk, how much the risk factor we are going to take. That is exactly what we are going to try to make. These are all called weather related risks. So how to make this for that part. For example, you can see here there are a lot of applications in the agriculture. From the cultivation point of view, we will try to make what are the things we will be able to make. Not only there, the energy, construction also, transportation, tourism, all are depends on the weather. If you go to some place, the people may like to see the snowfall, then they may not prefer to go in the summer or the rainy weather. The rainy weather, if you go to the hill stations, there may be some landslides, many other things. So by that way, this will try to play in all these domains. These are some of the areas. It will be applicable in all. Okay, so here the commonly traded market, you can see the temperature derivatives, the rainfall, how much that is going to make, and then the wind derivatives and the snow. Many things we can trade. All will be required for your agriculture perspective also. Here we can try to make those things. How to minimize those risks? That is very important. That is the idea of the PD, which we are trying to make it in this weather derivative price. Okay, this is just an example to show you the preferred and then the risky level. So this is the model PDE. Okay, there are various types of PDEs. The one or two models we have taken over here, not many. Okay, yes, you can see this Armstrong Wallenbeck model. You'll able to see this VB, the value of the option. Again, as before, but here we can see the coefficients are all going to be functions, not no more constants. They are all variable functions. Both depends on the asset as well as on the time variable. This is the volatility. This is the interest rate. Accordingly, we can try to make this model. We can try to look into that. And one more thing, again, to generalize this more, we'll have the jump diffusion model, where we have seen earlier the jump, where we are having this function phi of theta can be defined, and accordingly, we'll be able to make the lambda also. Okay. Then these are the conditions which we are trying to obtain for those models. This is the boundary. This is the final time we'll be able to have those. Okay, so these are the two models. Only this Armstrong Wallenbeck with the jump. We'll try to determine the mean square error for the initial condition, the boundary condition, and then from the differential equation. As like here, the right hand side is 0, so this is simply the right hand side, where the G calculated over. Okay, to determine this, we use the auto differentiation for today's mark. But we have done some other methods also. We don't have much time. We are to determine the integral, we try to use the quadrature. Your trapezoidal rule, composite trapezoidal, we try to make, which is more relevant and accurate. And just to show some experiment, we try to take some rainfall options, which are studied by Nambe and Southar in this last year. So they studied the rainfall option, the PDE. This is the model PDE. Okay, so you can see here, of course, this is the simplest model. So for that, they already have the exact equation solution. So this is your straight price. So the straight price we have taken 1 by 2.5. And exponential minus pi square t into this cosine of this. And this is your dividend interest rate volatility, and then the kappa, which come in the discontinuity. So if you try to make the parameters for the boundary initial point, we try to take 200 sample points. And then for the domain, we take 2200. Then the test to 32 points will take by each direction. Then depends on that number of epochs, starting from 800 to 4 times, more than 4 times, 5 times. They will have the result. As like the earlier cases, you can see here the mean square error is as expected and very less comparing to the maximum and then the relative error. The same with your CPU time also we have to know just for the rainfall options. So this is the exact value of the option. This is the predicted one. You can see here the error 2 into 10 raised to minus 4. This one works very well for the prediction options within the neural networks. This is basically the heat map of the error. We'll be able to see here X versus Y. We'll be able to see here the 10 raised to minus 4. So, of course, we have several other models. Since we don't have much time, only we have taken rainfall. Here you can see here. So we have other things also. We are taking only this example for this. We can try to make the temperature derivative, wind, snow, depends on the availability of that the either agriculture or construction or whatever it may be. Then we will be able to reproduce those things. That means using the neural network, we can try to predict. This will show you an example because this is the benchmark problem where we are trying to compare the results. So now we can try to once you test the machine. Now you can try to give any training data so that the machine will give you the perfectly the same result as expected over here for the real data. Okay. Just to summarize. So this last 55 minutes, what we have seen something on this neural network where we are trying to use today very well machine learning, artificial intelligence, ML, AI, and all to determine various things. So from the mathematical perspective, we have seen how that will try to help us to solve various types of equations. Then we will try to see what are the some basics we have seen from the mathematical perspective, how that will try to work. Then we have seen what is the role of the activation function, how the learning rate plays the key role, and simply increasing the number of layers, the hidden layers, then the neurons in the layer alone will not suffice to give us the required accuracy. And if we simply use the classical neural networks, either ANN, RNN, CNN, we may not be able to obtain the required accuracy in the case of the differential equations. For today's talk, we restricted to the financial engineering and then the weather derivative models. Then, we require some physics information, that is the law, physical laws behind that, that will be built along with your initial or the boundary conditions. Those things will be taken care of by the spin. That alone is not again sufficient for our case where we are having the jump diffusion. So we have the F pins we are trying to make. Then we use some hybrid approach in order to obtain the required accuracy. So this is what we have seen. We have seen some test examples available in the literature. Then we are trying to take some market data, try to fit how that things are exactly working in the real case. Then, of course, we left many things over here. So one can try to look for the other options as well. The mathematical part that are all be there. So what is the convergence and all, that are all the research are going on at that part. So this is what we have seen that so far. So these are all some of our papers, recent papers, what we have already done from competitive economics and some other things you can try to see here. So here we can try to see to solve some model. PD is modeling the pricing securities. And these are some of the very good papers for PIN. You can try to see here. This is now the basic book for computational finance. Books for, and this is another good book for that. With this, I will conclude my talk. If you have any questions, you can. Yes.
Thank you, sir. On
Yeah.
behalf to the organizer and all participants, I extend my heartfelt gratitude to Dr. S. Srinivasan sir for delivering such insight and engaging lecture. We truly appreciate your time and valuable contribution to this FDP. Any question from the participant? Any question?
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
That is one of the new domain, this mathematical finance.
Sir. Repeat question, sir. Sir, question, repeat question. Audible, sir, my audible?
Yes.
Thank you, sir.
Okay then. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Okay. So bye. I'm signing off.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.